you guys have enough money that you don't have to work?
Well,
yes.
We still play shows and stuff.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know you still play shows, and you still
We don't have any other jobs.
Yep, no, I know that. But I'm saying, like, if you wanted to quit right now, walk away, did the Reason bring you that much money? I guess what I'm getting at is, how much did the Reason make you? Today's podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use my code NASH and get $20 off your first order. Guys, what's up? Welcome back to the podcast. We're here with Doug, Robb, and Dan Estrin from Hoobastank. Unreal.
Clap.
I am so excited. These guys are celebrating the 20th anniversary release of The Reason. Is that correct? Is that why you're here?
Correct.
Check us out. Like,
Or did you just, what'd you say?
We're celebrating right now.
This is our celebration. Yeah,
This is it. This is our celebration faces.
20-year anniversary. What, December 9th?
Yeah.
December 9th.
If you had to, my son's in a band, if you had to start right now, you're 17. I know you guys were friends in high school. I know you guys were in a battle of the bands against each other, right?
Yes.
Correct. If you had to start right now, start a music career, how would it be different?
I have actually said to people before, if we never had gotten a record deal and had never been what we are, whatever, at this moment right now, if we had to start the band and make it, I don't know if it happened. It's just such a different time. It's 20 years later.
Yeah.
How we apply ourselves is completely different. We're much older. The world has changed. I think that we're still as passionate about making music and our love for music, but I think the approach is just totally different.
And so the Reason, this is like, has over 1 billion plays, right? It was just on Beef. Did you watch Beef?
I heard about it, but
I read that you heard about it. We watched it.
I watched it.
You watched it? I mean, I thought it was like the best show I'd seen in a long time. Like,
Okay.
It was that good.
I've been hearing,
best show of the
I've heard a lot
year.
good stuff.
It's funny when you hear a song like that and it's played to like really like high level television. It gives it a whole new. It's nostalgia. It also plays like. It played so well that the song re-entered the charts from the Netflix show, right?
I heard it was used really well. Like, yeah.
It was.
It was like a perfect song for that scene and the whole deal. So thanks, Beef.
And that was not that was your third song. You guys didn't want to release that song at first, right? That was what I read.
It wasn't. Yes, the short answer is yes, but it was kind of the token mellow song on the album.
Right.
We had done. It was our second major label release, and on the first one there was a really mellow song or a couple mellow songs. On the indie albums that we had, or the indie release we did before that, there was mellow songs.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of to mix it up a little bit. So it was almost a given that at some point in every album of ours there was going to be one or two mellow jams, and that to me at the time, I think maybe to the band as well, was okay. That's one of those.
Yeah.
And we didn't pick it in like the manager band label powwow when it was done, where everybody's like, let's pick singles.
Yeah.
It wasn't on our radar. I mean, they made us go back and record some extra songs because they weren't sure if we had a single. So this is a case where the record company was right. To know to put that song out, right? Well, I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. My memory is that we had a song called Out of Control. It was heavier. It was kind of more up the music alley that we saw ourselves, and kind of how we had established ourselves in the first record. And it was at that point, whatever, 6 weeks in, where they go, okay, are we going to throw some more money at this, or are we going to move to the next single?
Yeah.
And if we do move to the next single, it's going to be mellower, And I think we told them we wanted to keep pushing like the heavier song. And then at some point, I want to say there was a radio station in Utah. And I could be crazy. But
of course.
I feel like I remember.
Of course it's Utah.
Always Utah.
Religious area.
Utah.
Because I know it's not a religious song.
No.
Right.
And I feel like either a manager or the record label or somebody was telling us, dude, this song is getting played.
Yeah.
We didn't service it out to the radio stations. They're starting to play it already on their own. So we can either jump on this because it doesn't happen a lot, or we can tell them to stop playing it and keep pushing the song that you guys want to push. And they obviously wanted us to jump on the wave.
Yeah.
And we literally flew out to New York to fight them on that.
No
that
way.
we didn't want it to. We wanted to keep pushing Out of Control. We lost that battle.
What did they say in the meeting? I'm so interested.
It was all that kind of like, look, it's at the end of the day, it's going to be up to you guys. You know, like if you really want it, we will do what you guys want. But we think you're making a big mistake. And you know, we had an A&R guy who was a good friend of ours, but was also a really good like car salesman. You know, and you know he told us all the things we need to hear. You know, this doesn't happen. The song's going to get huge and blah blah blah. You gotta grab this one when it happens.
They're really good at manipulating you.
Yeah, pour enough wine in your ears and like. So
when
I
you're
remember
young,
we left
like
going.
that, they know how to work you.
I remember we left going.
Been worked.
You know, I guess we jump on it. You know.
Dude, to be honest with you, you're sitting here telling the story, which is absolutely accurate. But right now, as I sit here and I listen to the story, I cannot help for the first time, maybe not the first time, but believe wholeheartedly that they were f***ing with us the whole time. They wanted the reason to be the first single because they knew how big they felt it was going to be huge. We had sat in a meeting and played them at Universal Hilton or something like that, and then in a boardroom with the entire record label after we finished the record. The record wasn't even out yet, listening to the whole album. When it got to that song, everybody, you could just feel and see everybody responding to it.
Yeah.
To when it got to like the second or third, either the second chorus or by the last chorus, there was people that had never heard the song that were actually singing the song now at the table, and their reaction.
Except now we know they were all rehearsing. It was
maybe
all, it was
I
all,
don't. Well, maybe
it was
they had
all
heard it
paid
before,
for.
But I think that.
What do you mean they were rehearsing?
Just kidding. That we used to joke that when like we would fly into a city, and there would be like the record label exec to meet us there, and we'd have to go from the airport to whatever building is. They'd make sure the night before they poster all the route with all of our stuff to make.
There's our stuff. There's
make it seem like they're doing the marketing. They're doing the marketing, but this just fall off the next day, and like, okay, who is the next band coming through? You know,
what a bunch of scam artists.
They don't do.
Unbelievable.
We were sarcastic, thinking like these motherfuckers
very
doing
cynical,
this, you know, very cynical. Like
you're kidding.
They're really good at telling you all the things that you want to hear and make you feel like they do really care about you.
Sure,
and they do.
They do at the time.
I think
There's
there
people,
are a lot of people within the machine that care about us.
100%. We met a lot of those people and have relationships with them.
But the machine itself just wants money. That's it. Of course.
Okay. So you're sitting there, and how do you bang out the reason? Like, what happens? How did it come quick? I'm a comedian, right? And my biggest regret in life is I was never a musician. Like, I just think it's the coolest. I think my favorite thing in the world to do is to sit there and like listen to, like, watch Kanye like come up with a song, or that process. Like, you know, when somebody comes up with something.
I agree, man. I watched the Beatles Get Back twice. I watched it like 2 times in a row. No shit. Really? I was so inspired by it.
Best.
But watching them Get Back and watching.
That's the one that was recent, right?
The one where all 4 of them recently just got together in the same room and remade it.
I mean?
Yeah.
The recent release, though.
Yeah. It's the one that's.
No, I watched that one too, and I'm not.
It was
historian.
I could watch it again and again and again. To watch the 4 of them sitting there and watch Paul McCartney on the bass trying to figure out and coming up with the idea for Get Back and the lyrics, and kind of like he's fumbling things here and there, and it's snowballing its way into the song that we all know, and then boom, it happens, and it's like,
yes,
are you fucking kidding me? They have cameras in there. Like, how am I just seeing this now in 2023 or 2022? Whenever I saw it for the first time, like, holy shit. So that was amazing. I don't remember what.
But go ahead. I guess the question was, how'd you come up with the song?
The music started. I did the music at home one day. We had been touring heavily on our first album that was pretty successful for us, and a brand new band with their first album. So we came home, and I was just, my head, it was just so into the band and into music and whatever. And I don't remember. I just knew that we had to make new music. Yeah. We had time off, and I just was sitting in this. I was living at my mom's house still, and I was sitting in this guest room. With my Pro Tool system playing guitar, and I came up with the initial, what you hear on guitar, the just that. And I was like, oh, how I was playing it felt slightly different for me than what I had previously written, this thing that I had come up with. And I thought it was kind of interesting. So then what I wanted to do was incorporate other like root notes so I could make a chord progression out of it, instead of it just being in the initial key of E.
Yeah.
Is what it's in. When I started, it's in, that first part is an E, and then it switches to another note, you know. So I found the notes and I recorded it, and like I would record all my ideas, you know, to a click track with the guitar, and then I programmed drums and put drums over it, played the bass over it, played some keyboards on it, did some overdub.
That's great. The first dun dun dun.
I didn't do that, dude. So
you didn't do that.
No.
Okay.
And cut that out because I don't want the producer to hear that was great. Fucking Howard.
Sorry, man.
You can't give him credit.
He didn't do anything.
He didn't do dude. No, I'm just kidding. I love Howard.
Because it's one note.
It is.
Right? Over and over again.
Yeah. But so that wasn't the song. The song started just like after that, where the band comes in, you know, everybody came in together.
Yeah.
And so I'd sent it to Doug, like I had been sending everything else to Doug, and got a call or a text or whatever it was, probably a call at that point, saying like, okay, so this idea, it's called track 2 mix whatever, because I didn't have a name for it. You're playing an overdub. You're playing this guitar part in the chorus. You don't have to play that. I'll sing that as my line. And then I was like, I just remember going, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then hung up the phone with him, and I don't even remember,
it was
man.
A day, dude. It was quick. Like he said, it wasn't like, oh, this is something different. It was all right. He gave me a CD. It was a CD of like, I was in an apartment off, you know, Topanga in Ventura. All right, in my apartment. I had a stack of, you know, papers and old like stream of conscious type writing stuff that I just accumulated. And that's it. Like he said, he sent me the music, and I go, oh, cool. I like this overdub you did guitar part as the vocal line. I'm going to sing that. And he's like, okay, cool. And then the rest of it was really fast. It was like, okay, I like this line from this paper. They're not dated or anything. And I cherry picked these phrases from old writings, and I put it together. It wasn't like, oh my God, I gotta write this song about Susan. You know, like it was nothing. And the funny thing is, people always ask, like, who is it about?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I used to say no one in particular because it wasn't.
Yeah.
But then I started going, well, it's actually about me. It's about me because it's continual like endings to relationships. Like I'm the variable that never changed in that, you know, like I kept on doing the same thing. So the song is really about me, I guess, in a sense.
When I look at the song, as I was reading the lyrics this morning, the way I relate to it is I have a lot of younger friends who I'm watching them go through stuff as young men, and watching the mistakes that they've made, and they're the mistakes I've made. I made the same freaking mistakes, you know. And I just think that when I look at it, that's what I see in it. It's like people changing, and then you know when you're young and you want to change, but you just can't. You know, and so now I'm older. I've made a lot of changes in my life, and for me, like that's what I get from it.
Yeah, I mean
I'm sure people.
That's the beauty of music. Yeah,
people just tell you all kinds of things like this reminds me of my grandmother.
Everything.
Can you remember any of them?
No, I mean it's a lot of like this is our wedding song, or this is a song I proposed to my wife to.
Wedding song,
or yeah, which is a little weird, right?
We've had a lot of people reach out to us and tell us that one of their parents passed away or something like that, and it was the song that their mother or their father loved that they would listen to, whatever. I mean, there's some seriously like heartbreaking, touching stories that we've heard, which is cool.
But as far as the writing process, I've always kind of said if we have a handful of songs that I feel, at least on my behalf, like lyrically and melodically, if they come together fast, like everything I throw out to myself snowballs and it sticks, those are the ones I feel have had more success. I mean, or at least the ones I've enjoyed, even if they weren't singles.
Yeah.
The ones that we have to like just keep going back to it and like maybe change this word.
Yeah.
I almost feel like now if that happens now, I just go, let's just f- the song. Yeah.
And so you finish the writing, then you send it back to Dan, and what does Dan say?
So this was going on for years between the two of us, sending music ideas to Doug possibly singing over them and then sending them back to me. So I do happen to have and had a lot of my demo music of our songs with his demo vocals on them. The reason I didn't, the reason he didn't send back with vocals, you never sang on the demo, because it happened so fast that I think that you just had the idea. It was towards the end of the writing process for that record that I think we had just had Howard Benson, our producer, come over to the house and sit with us, and we maybe kind of played it acoustic.
I'm telling you, I got the music in the evening. I wrote the lyrics or compiled and fill in the blanks while watching like football on the couch. Like, it's very not romantic, like how you would think.
Yeah. So I never
and eating, and it came together so fast. I feel like the song was done in less than half an hour. Like,
wow.
Like, I had never heard
everything works. Everything works. Like.
I think I hadn't heard what he was singing until we had tried playing it in rehearsal for the first time. I knew he was going to be doing something in the chorus that was, because that's what my guitar was doing. Uh-huh. But when you called me, you said, you don't have to play that overdub guitar because that'll be my melody. And I was like, cool, I won't play that. But everything about that song and how it was demoed from like conceived had the hooks already in it, except for that intro piano, which is a big part, of the song. It starts.
Yeah, when you're in a Cost Plus, and you're shopping,
when you're at the freezer aisle,
in the freezer aisle, like
kicks in.
But that's my jam.
As far as over the years, I've been in places where it's come on, or I've been with people who we've been sitting around and it's come on, and every time it gets right before the chorus, there's that guitar overdub that's that neener, and like I've had girlfriends over the years kind of like neener and kind of like pointed out to me and stuff like that. So it had these little hooks already that were in the demo, and these melodic hooks that Doug had written, and like he said, everything just kind of
it was
happened.
Tough. It was tough for me today when you guys came for me not to sing the song. I had to catch myself.
Yeah, we get a lot of people.
You're in my living room. I was like, I'm not a bird.
Yeah.
It's like the old Kevin Nealon bit from SNL. Have you ever seen it?
Which one was that?
Kevin Nealon had a bit on SNL, and he would get in an elevator, and then Sting would get in the elevator.
Oh yeah, dude! I thought it was Chris Farley. Was it Kevin Nealon?
It was Kevin Nealon,
and he would start singing the songs.
No, dude. No, he did it. He did it with. I saw he did it with Michael J. Fox.
Yeah,
and he sang
back in time.
That's right.
Remember that?
Yes, I remember
that shit was.
He would Sting, and he'd go, Roxanne.
Yeah, because he'd recognize him and kind of be like, oh wait, you're.
Dude, you do that anyways. Whenever we're somewhere, I'd be like, we have this is so stupid. We have a like a guitar case. It looks like a coffin, but you put a few guitars in it, and you pull it over and you roll it on wheels, right? And it's died recently, but one of the wheels was broken, so it would be like bang, 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 bang. It was like uneven. And we kept on joking, we got to put like a piano, an E pit. So every time you pull it, it just goes bing, 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 like just to draw more attention to the bass player.
So you said you wanted to be a musician, but you were a comedian, and and over the years, the offensive shit that has come out of our mouths. Yeah, we have always said to each other, dude, if we ever got called out for stuff, we wish we were comedians. Like, not real. I don't think we have it to be comedians, but that's. Our brains are constantly going to sarcasm. What's the joke? What is the first joke? Right. The jab, and then the twist.
Yes,
you know,
too, yeah.
And how offensive can we be? And I think that most of it is because we believe the opposite of what we typically are saying.
Right. It's funny to us because it's so not who we are as people. So the worse we say, the funnier it is to us.
Yeah, and I think that's still true with like when I look at like my kids and stuff. I think it's still true with them. They say offensive stuff, but now there's just a lot of pressure. You could be caught on camera saying stuff with the phones, and I mean, our generation was better, I think.
Safer.
Yeah, it was better before phones, right?
I mean, it's hard. I can't sit here and say that it was better because I do believe that if we say that, we kind of just sound like our parents, Yeah. And which is maybe they were right the whole time, but at the same time, I'm open to growing, and at least I'll say I am. Maybe I'm not actually in the moment, but like I'm open to seeing things from a different perspective and a different generation. And why is that cool? Why do you like that? Why don't you like this?
You just discovered Amazon.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's called Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Right?
I like that.
When did you discover Amazon? You said upstairs about a year ago,
dude. The other day,
a week ago.
Listen, I see the trucks all the time. Okay, but like
those trucks.
I was like, I ain't falling for it. And then the other day I fell for it, dude. And it's just like package after package are showing up at my house now. Because at nighttime when I'm ordering them, it's not as much guilt hitting buy because I do it and then 10 minutes later I totally forget that I did it.
Yeah.
And then like I'm not actually pulling cash out.
And then you walk your dog and you come back the next morning. You're like, oh my God, I'll get a little surprise.
I got a notification on my phone that an Amazon package came and I was so stoked. I rushed home and it was a 3-pack of socks, dude. And they didn't even I saw it too, that it was in a clear packaging. On my porch, it was just like, my name's on this. Like, yes, I get to open it. I break that thing open, dude. I was so stoked.
So you guys went to high school together or separate high schools?
No, Doug and I went to high school.
But you were in opposite bands, opposing bands.
We were in different grades. He was a year above me and in different bands, yes.
Okay.
But we knew each other.
And so then you were in a battle of the bands, and then after that you said, let's start working together, basically?
I mean, that's the short version.
Wasn't that professional?
Yeah,
but
it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think...
when do you get some traction? When are you like a band? When are you like, you actually feel like, hey, we're getting gigs? And when does that happen?
I think that happened...
After high school.
After high school.
Yeah,
I think that happened when we started playing shows like in Hollywood. I kind of felt like, oh, dude,
You're coming down from Agora Hills.
We're like a band.
You're playing Hollywood. You're playing the Viper Room or whatever.
Rock
Troubadour.
Whiskey and the Roxy a lot.
Whiskey and the Roxy.
Troubadour.
Yeah. Fun. Those must
I
have been fun
remember
days.
after the first couple shows, some dude... Yeah, some dude like, hey man, you want to wear my t-shirt company with snowboard t-shirt? And I was thinking, oh my God, I made it. Like people offered me free clothes. I think it was like 3 shows in. Yeah. Like some guy was gonna like take pictures of me wearing his shirts. I thought it was that's it. I can retire. Yeah, that's kind of when I felt like, oh man, we're more than just like doing stuff in the garage.
And at that time when you guys came up, it was the same exact time that Incubus and Linkin Park came from Agora Hills too. Is that right?
Incubus was, I would always say Incubus was like 2 years or something like that. Year or 2 years ahead of us as far as like.
But still.
They've been playing for a couple years.
That's a lot of bands to come.
Linkin Park was honestly like a couple years behind us.
As far as, yeah, you're right. But to the average person that's just standing back looking at the timeline, we're the exact same band.
It's 3 big bands from one town.
Well, Incubus was in Calabasas. Okay. Linkin Park was a little bit of Agora and Calabasas mixed.
But when we're sitting here talking about Seattle and Soundgarden and those bands, you realize that they weren't all at the exact same, like maybe 2 years apart, some of them, and then the sum of it all was massive at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's how people, so I can understand how people perceive the 3 of our bands.
Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains going, okay, let's be a band now, all of us. Okay, well, cool. We started the exact same time.
Were you close with Chester Bennington?
We had become close with him. We had toured with those guys. Chester was not from where we were from, and a couple of the other guys from Linkin Park.
Where's he from?
Chester was from Arizona, but Mike Shinoda and Brad Delson, the guitar player and the other singer of Linkin Park, were from Agora, and we went to high school with them, and we did know them. So we knew them very well before all that stuff, and were friends when we were younger. Chester, however, when we toured with them, was probably the kindest, most outgoing personality in the entire camp. Not that anybody else was bad. Everybody was great, but Chester was just full of life and became our dude, I feel like. And I also feel like, too, though, because we weren't partying. We are not a party band, but, yeah, we would have drinks here and there. And from my memory, there was no drinks in the Linkin Park camp for whatever reasons. And so he'd come and hang with us, and we just became cool with him.
That baffles me, because you hear that a lot. You see somebody that's like so outwardly nice and kind, and he brings happiness everywhere he goes, and then on the inside he's like torn up, you know?
Yeah, I didn't know
I feel like
him.
It's more
that
common
well.
than
you do
than you realize. Yeah.
You
start to hear about Oh, that
Oh, that's me. You're right.
I never thought.
What am I talking about? I'm literally describing myself.
Yeah, right. Look out for the people who
figuring
are
out today.
Look out for the people who are happy.
Don't worry, I'm not.
Well, and the whole thing about people looking from the outside, going, "Well, how could you be unhappy? Look at you're married, you have kids,
that I get, yeah,
and you have millions of dollars, and you're the biggest band in the world." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm sitting here also thinking those things, going like, "Dude, what do you?" But none of that matters when you're depressed and when you're feeling the worst that you could possibly ever feel, and there's no hope. All that is you're not thinking about that.
If your mental well-being was based on all those stats, then then he wouldn't have,
he was somebody that all that stuff didn't make him happy.
It doesn't
ultimately.
matter. Yeah,
guys, today's podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek, the one and only best ticketing app in the nation, around the world. The one company that has been with me since the very beginning of this podcast, SeatGeek.com. Go check them out. SeatGeek is just an amazing ticketing app where you can get tickets to concert events, sporting events. You can do it all on SeatGeek. The service works great. You can get tickets to anything. You get the tickets fast. You get them right on your phone. And right now, SeatGeek has an incredible offer for first-time customers. If you use my code NASH, you're going to get $20 off your first order. Right off the top. Right off the top, $20 off. Go get it. Go to the link in the description if you're watching this on YouTube and download the SeatGeek app and have it and make it a part of your life because they've been a part of mine for so long. Use code NASH. That's SeatGeek.com. My thanks to SeatGeek for sponsoring this podcast. So now you've got the song, you've got all this success. You're doing MTV. That's when MTV was big then, right? You make the music video for the reason, and then you go to the Grammys. You do all this. I mean, what happens?
Like, you just said it.
Yeah,
I just said it all. All right, guys.
You just said it.
We're gonna go.
I don't know. That was a very interesting time.
I mean, I look at you guys now. You guys are dads, right? You're like,
I'm not, but
he is.
Yeah, well, three of the guys are. Yeah.
Yeah, but but back then you must have been like on top of the world, hot shot.
Yeah,
like,
you know what?
Did you feel that
I kind
way?
of feel like we were. Yes, there was a part of me. I guess I can only speak for myself. That felt like a badass, Yeah. But I've always had the other foot in dadhood, even though I wasn't a dad at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a giant pussy when I think about it. Like I
Me too.
Yeah, I was like talking to the dad friends I have now, like, oh my God, you must have been wild. I'm like, did you go to college? And they're like, yeah. Well, I guarantee your college days were wilder than my wildest like rock star days.
Yeah.
Like I just never. I can give you a bunch of reasons like why I wasn't really into this, and I'm kind of introverted and I'm shy and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, honestly, it was just fear. I didn't. It was so that whole lifestyle and that like type of I don't know that
debauchery.
Yeah, debauchery, and was so not me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I wanted it and now I had the license to do it. I never got into music or anything that we do because I wanted to be a rock star. I don't want to be a rock star. Like, what's his face? Vernon Reed, who's a guitar player for Living Colour.
Yep.
We toured with him last year?
A couple years ago.
At the end of the tour, he's like, Doug, you are the anti-lead singer.
Yeah.
And he meant that, I think, in a positive way. He's like, you don't do all the cliche things that lead singers do.
Sure.
Like,
Destroy the hotel
room. You don't do any of it. Like, you don't require the
of somebody's breasts.
The spot. No, but I'm talking about even you don't require the spotlight. You don't do this, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But that's all.
That's
because
nice.
that's who I really was.
Does that come from your parents? You have a good upbringing?
I guess. I mean, I guess it was good. Yes, it was a good upbringing. But I still think it's a lot of just fear. Like, I didn't want to. I'm not like a rule breaker per se.
Mm-hmm.
I can bend things, but I don't want to test limits.
Aren't you lucky that way that you had your wherewithal and you had the sense about you to say, hey, wait a second, I don't need to.
Right. I mean, trust me, there are times where like I want to, but
right.
I don't. It doesn't feel right, or I'm just too scared to pull the trigger on this. I don't. Whatever activity we're talking about, I'm like, no. It's fun that all this is happening around these award shows and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like I'm still going to go home and sleep in my bed. And
it was a funny tweet you had about. There was a trend on TikTok. I'm not a perfect person, right? And you remember that trend, obviously. And then you made one, which was it says it's like I'm not a perfect person, and then it's you saying you're sorry that you named the band Hoobastank.
Right. That's one thing that we've Yeah, we're extremely self-deprecating
so
as a band.
Do you regret naming the band that?
Not now, not anymore.
Yeah.
I still don't. I still go, God, that's a stupid name as a band. But I feel like
it works. It's memorable.
It's so nonsensical and it's so its own thing that even if you don't know the band, you almost know the word. You know, Hoobastank. That's a band, right? Like I've heard of that. I've heard it.
Yeah.
And so if it were something more common, it might have gotten lost in the zeitgeist of it. You know, so I think it kind of it's standing the test of time.
It means a German sneakerhead. Is that correct?
No. That's a good say that somewhere. Did you read that somewhere?
Yeah,
because we just used to say anything and everything we could think of that was random.
We shot ourselves in the foot on that one early on because we would at every interview, first album. So what does Hoobastank mean? And we would start just bullshitting. Oh, it's like this gravy this is Swedish gravy like that, or it's my brother who lives in Munich. Oh, it's a street in Munich, like his brother lives there. And, oh my God, and I used to say it's the H in Jesus H Christ. Like people don't know that. I've studied the Bible. It says it's
right.
But it was nothing. And I think at the time we thought like, well, if we keep on giving everybody different answers, they're gonna stop asking.
Yeah.
And it didn't. It just perpetuated.
But do you think that if we would have said a real answer, that it would have stopped people from asking?
No, because people are lazy and they don't want to just go, well, I'm going to interview Hoobastank. I'm going to what does the band mean? Or not band mean, where did the word come from or something like that? It's literally a word we pulled out of our asses in high school.
Yeah.
It's not like some deep story again,
Will you guys make a new album?
I mean, we talk about doing new stuff, and we have new music ideas.
Yeah.
And Doug has a bunch of ideas for those ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You for years have been saying, I don't want to do new albums anymore. I just want to put out a few songs at a time. For years. I'm talking like decades. I know he has a love-hate relationship with the writing and recording process. I usually just really enjoy it.
Because you got to go through him to get the lyrics, right?
Some of it, I'm
challenging.
sure. Yeah.
It's very challenging. Yeah. Not him, but also
it's part of it.
Everything
You're like
is
Elton
challenging.
John and Bernie Taupin.
But everything. I mean, I am challenging to myself. I get in my own way, and I get mental roadblocks and shit like that. So, it's my own anxieties, but when I'm in the thick of it all, even though I'm acknowledging it now and I can recognize it, and even when it's happening, in the moment of it though, I'm not thinking clearly. So if I'm in a bad spot mentally because I'm not feeling something, or because I just have no fucking idea what to do here, I get in my head and I gotta leave, or I gotta go like, okay, if I'm expected to come up with something creative, I gotta leave, dude. I gotta go somewhere and think about this and work on it. And I don't know if a lot of people would expect that, from a band member or somebody in a band that's, had the success that we have had. But
no, I would expect it. I think it's probably even harder because you're like trying to thread the needle again.
It's been hard, man. It's been like, if you think about between The Reason coming out and today, it's been 20 years. Yeah. And over those 20 years, I have been trying to still write music and have it be successful. But that also have to be successful. What does that mean? Like you said it before, if I write something and nobody hears it ever, but I am so proud of it, that's kind of successful. I want to say there. I
want to say that's the success we all should be shooting for, in general.
You got to pay your bills.
Because it's not. Yeah, but
are you guys have enough money that you don't have to work?
Well, yes,
we still play shows and stuff.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know you still play shows, and you
we don't have any other jobs.
Yeah, no, I know that. But I'm saying, like, if you wanted to quit right now, walk away, did The Reason bring you that much money? I guess what I'm getting at is, how much did The Reason make you?
Well, The Reason made a lot of people, including
1 billion streams on spot.
Well, that's something that you would,
I would calculate that, I guess. Ben?
Hey, you have. Did you have to buy your plaque?
We see you have what is that?
For free.
Is that a million subscriber plaque?
It's either the 100,000 or the million. Yeah.
Okay, I have a bunch of random, like my garage is like converted into stuff like that, So that's where I have like the music stuff. There's plaques and blah blah blah, like awards and
yeah.
And the only one my son gives two shits about is the YouTube one.
YouTube flag.
Yeah, and it's in a box. I don't even have that.
to him.
I don't even have that one up. He brings his friends over and they go in the garage like, oh, and it's just they pull out and they go, oh my god, 1 million subscribers. I'm like, dude,
it's really funny.
Okay.
1,045,000 or 46,000. How much you got now? Yeah,
I don't know. I think it's rad, but I think it's funny. That's what's important to him.
I have a friend who's a YouTuber, and Tom Brady's walked up to him and he was like, "Thank you so much for taking a picture with my kids. My kids are freaking out." And you're like, dude, this is Tom Brady. Like,
yeah, right,
what are we talking about here?
Right.
You know what I mean? And who else? Like, who are some of the coolest people you got to work with? The people that you're like.
We got to work with Matt Wallace, who produced their biggest albums, and we had actually met with him to do our first record. We did end up going with somebody else.
Those Faith No More albums that Matt Wallace produced were probably our favorite.
Yeah, some of
most
my
influential
like those
albums.
like Desert Island albums, were his. we literally like 2 or 3 days ago were on stage with guys from Toto and Ringo Starr.
Where?
Well, we were on. We did a thing.
USO thing.
We did a charity event for autism awareness.
It's the Ed Asner Family Center.
Oh wow!
But Toto, I'm sorry. Ringo Starr headlined it. Everybody did 3 songs. Stone Temple Pilots was there. Joe Bonamassa was there. Colin Hay from Men at Work.
Wow.
Toto and us. And
Stone Temple Pilots has a new lead singer.
yeah.
Oh wow!
And he kills it, dude. He's great. He's really good. And those 3 musicians are fantastic and just such good dudes. We got to, at the last song, get by with a little help from my friends. We had been told that we were allowed to come out and sing and whatever with Ringo and Toto, because Toto's basically the backing band. Sure enough, he calls us out.
It's a little surreal.
He calls us out. Steve Lukather from Toto's waving us out. Like, it was just really cool. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, just.
I'm like, dude, I'm on stage singing a song, a Beatles song, with a Beatle. There he is.
Yeah, somebody
that's
like
a little
that.
weird.
It's almost like tough to be in their orbit.
It was, dude. I mean, yes, there is. Ringo was up there, and I'm standing there playing the guitar, and I remember looking at him, going, "Oh, dude, he's wearing like jogger sweatpants, and like he's like super skinny
Oh, I
and
bet he
small.
dyes his hair.
This motherfucker's tiny." Like, I'm thinking that as I'm playing, and I'm standing right behind him. But then I look over, and then I see Doug standing over there singing, with Colin Hay, and I'm a huge Colin Hay fan.
Yeah, I know Colin Hay.
I think Colin's voice is so
Awesome.
fucking good.
So good.
So unique and so good, and his songwriting is great. So he's over there singing with Colin, and then behind you is Dean DeLeo from Stone Temple Pilots, the guitar player. On drums is Greg Bissonette, who's played with fucking Toto and David Lee Roth, and and then next to me, to my right, is David Page from Toto, the dude who wrote like Africa and Rosanna and Hold the Line, and and then Steve Lukather's on my left, and Robert, and I'm like, what?
You're
the
geeking out.
fuck
What am I doing here?
dude?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I was watching one of your YouTube videos this morning. It's like you guys did an acoustic version, and the top comment was, "He's still got his voice," which I thought was really cool.
Thank God.
It was like, and it had like 4,000 likes.
Yeah,
Which is-
one of these days I won't. I kind of feel like just nature will eventually make it sound
I
different.
saw Billy Joel, man. I saw him at the Hollywood Bowl.
Does he?
It was unreal.
Because I saw Elton John. I saw Elton John at the Wilshire, and he had to tune everything down.
Elton's voice has dropped quite a bit, but he's still rad, and his voice
No,
is
he
still
still does
killer, and
great.
the songs are amazing. It's just, there's times that you sing. I don't know if it's because we're married to a degree, and I know the songs so well, and I know his vocals so well, that I at times can hear what sounds like an adult version a little bit more of Doug.
I can definitely hear the texture changing has changed. But I mean, it's been,
and I don't mean
25
that
years of singing. So.
in any negative way at all. It's just simply I hear. I don't know if you could. I don't know if what I'm thinking is maybe he could go sing lower than he ever before. Maybe not. But just a more matureness.
There's a beauty in that matureness to hear the song now, and you're like, it's those years going back into the song. I saw the Strokes once with my son, and it was the best concert I ever saw. And for the first half an hour, he wasn't warmed up. He was just like screaming, and then by about halfway through, his voice was like incredible. And I don't know, just that like ride was cool in a way.
Good to know. I'm like, shh. Because I've had countless shows where I can't pull it together for half the set, and then all of a sudden it kind of works. And you're always your own biggest critic. I always walk off going, that sucked.
Yeah.
That really sucked.
I do that at stand-up,
and then some people will be like, dude, I didn't even notice. Or that was odd. Or like you said, that was like part of the fun.
That was part of the fun.
How different it sounded. And I was one of those guys. Like if I saw Faith No More or Alice in Chains or something like that, I always liked when it sounded a little different. It didn't sound, dude, that sounds exactly like I like when they cut some corners, when they or embellished things or just made things different. That's what I always liked about it. So I'd be one of those guys who'd be like, yeah, that's awesome that he didn't do it perfectly.
Did you guys get nervous to like do something big like the Grammys, or you played the Grammys, right?
We didn't actually play the Grammys. We presented an award, but we were nominated as well. But we've played those types of shows like award. We've done award shows actually, and we've done
a lot of
MTV
shows. Awards.
Yeah, like MTV Music Awards. Would you get like super nervous for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I still get nervous now.
Yeah.
To do anything. Yeah.
I got nervous going out the other night, dude. Right before we walked out, I had to start blowing on my palms because they were sweating, and I had to tell myself, dude, just focus on your breathing, man. Like, you know what you're doing. Like, it's just because it's something new in the arena that's familiar to us, but now it's something, when we're on tour every day and we walk out, like we literally could be playing Uno and not even talking about playing a show, and literally like, oh, we gotta go, and we run out to the stage. Yeah. And it's so casual and so comfortable and not stressful, and I'm not sweating bullets. But for some reason, a one-off with Toto and Ringo and those guys, like, makes
well, I mean, when you put it that way, it sounds, well, yeah, obviously you'd be nervous about that, but
I do this new thing in stand-up where I tried to do this weekend, where usually I get nervous from the time I wake up until the show. So then this weekend I was like, okay, I'm only going to allow myself to be miserable an hour before the show. So it was really just an hour where I was like flipping out. But normally it would be like,
maybe it means that we still care.
Yes, that's what I think too.
Yeah. There's an excitement or something that happens before a regular. If we're on tour and it's a Tuesday and we've been playing for the last 3 weeks, it's super comfortable and casual. But there is still this like thing about going out that we're about to go and do something. As you know, when you walk out on stage, you're about to go do something, and if there are nerves, I feel like they go away so quick. The minute that we make that the couple steps to the stage and it's go time, it's this autopilot to a degree. Yeah, hypnotic state of mind.
Does it work that way? Like if you're feeling anxious about something, does it kind of go away within the first couple jokes?
It goes away after that first laugh.
Oh yeah, same thing. First song or first line, first chorus, and I'll be like, oh, okay, this is.
You hear them respond.
Yeah, or just like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 years.
Now, what do you do though? How does it? If you're flowing and someone talks or says something, you get a heckler or whatever it is. Yeah. If that's happened to you or not.
Yeah.
Has it happened to where it gets in your head and it's like the domino effect now, and it's like, can't get out of my head now, or are you pretty good at dealing with that?
No, pretty good with it. I usually try to throw them down, like, shoot back at them. Yeah. It happened over the weekend, and I did it well. Sometimes I lose my place. So lots of times the people that come to my shows, they're YouTube fans, so they think it's a dialogue. They've never been to a stand-up show, so that's a little awkward. So there's just people talking. And
you're like, oh, that's just we're just supposed to talk to him.
Yeah, and then that'll be like my line. I'll be like, I'm the only one supposed to be talking, that'll get a laugh for. But it's fine, yeah. And it really is. It's stand-up is like a tightrope act. It's just like, okay, move here. This worked, this didn't. But the minute you feel like they like you, then I relax and I just have fun.
Right.
But that moment, it's got to come in the first 5 minutes.
Do you have any drinks before you go on stage?
No, I don't drink.
Do you have any smokes before you go on stage?
I chew Nicorette. But I can't perform high. I can't go about. I like getting high, but I can't go about my day. I can't be functional. Yeah. I'm not functional. I'm like,
that's
it's lucky, fun though.
Dude. I don't really smoke. Well, I don't smoke at all.
Yeah.
But if I've ever had any like THC, it's like in a gummy like that, and I'm useless.
I'm useless.
Just absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I like the feeling, and it's cool to listen to music and just kind of space out. But I can't do shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way on earth I could, perform. So
it's good for writing.
I tried that once. Yeah. I got super duper high once, And I'm like, I went in the garage. I'm like, sit down. I'm really gonna, attack this song idea. And I sat there and I played it and I got the headphones on. And I'm like, oh, dude, I got so many ideas. And then I started to go, man, this verse is really long. Like, how long is this thing? And I was starting to realize like I'd lost my perception of time. And I was like, I had locked in my sense of time with like how many ideas I had. I'm like, I've had so many ideas. This verse has to be like 4 minutes long. But it was really just the same normal amount.
20-second verse.
Yeah, 20-second verse. And then when I realized that, I'm like, shh, I need to go sit down. Like, so I like sat on the couch, turned on the TV, and then I like ended up watching like the guide channel like for like the next 2 hours. So,
just the scroll of what was on. Yes. Not even watching something.
And then reading like, oh, what's coming on next? And then getting lost in what I was reading, and then what a fucking waste of a night. I didn't get anything done. It was just bad. So that's the last time I tried to do that.
What about you?
Well, I'm a believer that what you guys are talking about is 100% true, and I think that to get past that, you just have to keep doing it. And I think that
we gave up, is what it is.
I think that you guys are just quitters.
What a great line!
No, for real, I'm not even kidding.
More weed.
I'm not even kidding. Like I believe that like
that's great.
What you're saying is totally true. And I remember before I had ever tried smoke, I didn't try smoking weed until I was an adult. The reason I'd already written the reason, it was after that.
Yeah.
And I remember the first week going like, how the do people do any function? How do they drive? Like I remember hearing stories about people. I'd get stoned and I'd go drive to the beach and I'd go surfing, and I'm like, I don't even know where my shoes are, dude. Like what the hell? But eventually, I found my shoes and I knew what I was doing and I was functioning. And it made my views on everything actually quite different, and I perceived things a lot different. And
are you high right now?
No, and I thought about it, to be honest with you. I thought about smoking before I came here.
I want to do a high episode here, but I'm worried that it won't be good.
Well, you and I would just be like this.
No, it'd be great.
But this is a long podcast.
I like what you're saying, because there's a part of me that wishes I could get high before I go on stage, because when I am high, I don't care. So it lifts all those nerves. Now, can I put two sentences together? I don't know.
So,
but I care if you do or not.
I've dealt with my life before smoking weed ever.
Yeah.
I've dealt with a ton of anxiety issues since a baby, like, and so my whole life I feel like has been navigating through this
since a baby.
Well, since I don't remember not.
Did you have anxiety as a baby?
I can imagine I did. I don't remember not having it. I remember, and not maybe in the way that everybody talks about it today, but I'm talking 40 years ago, like, and like seeing therapists and stuff as a young kid because of it. So if I do smoke pot or smoke weed, like, I could get out of my head like you're talking about and just be like, this is fucking awesome. But if one negative thing happens and it triggers me, it's the domino effect, and it's the other way. But there is something about that too at this age that I do kind of like. Like, here we go. Let's see what happens. And talking myself through it and going, dude, you know what you're doing. Like, you know that how this feels. You know that you're going to feel this way again, and it's only a matter of time before you get out of it. You just have to learn how to go through it, Yeah. And so sometimes that helps me get through it by having it in my system when I play. I kind of sometimes forget about all the bad negative that might be rolling through my head.
Yeah, me too.
So
great. It's a little vacation.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, guys, go check out Hoobastank on Spotify, on YouTube. Go stream the song. Go watch Beef. You guys are amazing. You guys are really fun, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Anything else you want to promote? Say? Any parting shots? Any advice you can give a young? My son is coming out with an album, and I said, the album's done. I go, where's the album? He goes, we're doing one every 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's like a big thing now, I guess.
Yeah.
So do people release the song one every 2 weeks, and then after they're all released, then put the record out? I go, it's already out. What's the point?
Well, it loads every 2 weeks onto that album. So right now there's only 4 on there.
Oh, and then the thing's fully out.
September 15th there'll be 5. October 1st there'll be 6.
What?
What was it? The advice for?
Got any advice to young musicians?
I always say, do it for the right reason. Don't do it because like I want to be
famous.
I want to be famous, or I want to, like, do it so that if you like you said, if no one ever heard your music, you still love that you poured yourself into it.
That's really good.
Because I think that authenticity will, ironically, be very helpful in actually getting to the quote rock star area. If that's where you're if you want to go, I think the fakes get spotted from a mile away.
Yeah.
And so cliche. Just like find your own voice. Do you? Don't go like I love this artist. I want to do just like that. You might. I think that's helpful to start, like almost like a template, but then work off and find who you are, and don't worry about like if you're a singer, at least don't be like, oh, I got to be as good as these people on these TV shows and stuff like that. Fuck, just
you don't need to be as good.
No, you need to have you. You're selling. If you're selling, you're selling yourself. You're putting yourself out there, so it's your voice, your thoughts.
Okay.
Solid
advice from someone who has 1 billion streams.
A billion. How much now?
1 billion.
Billion, 7 million, 8 million.
You need a little tracker.
Yeah, I check that thing every.
Oh wait, 1 billion, 8 million? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you say it?
Christ.
1 billion, 8 million,
Billion, 8
bajillion.
million.
I want to get to a Brazilian.
What would be next? A trillion, right?
Hey, what about we always joke about, dude, we want to start up because we're idiots. 1 billion, 7 million.
What did I say?
You said 1 billion,
You were
8
close.
million.
You were.
We always joke about
Maybe
having a
off. It'll be there tomorrow.
podcast, the guys in the band.
You should. Why don't you?
Because we talk so much shit. And
you
we're
don't
very
talk any shit today.
No, yes, that's exactly.
That's why you don't have the podcast.
That's why we don't have a podcast. But we were jokingly want to call it "Even the Guys in Hoobastank Think." ... because
think you suck. Or
yeah,
this sucks.
like that kind of stuff. Even the guys in Hoobastank think you guys are pussies. Like we're
really good.
Yeah, like
If we think you're,
that's
if everybody thinks we suck, even we think you suck. Like.
Why don't you do it?
Because we're.
we have to do all this shit. This is too much shit to do.
You can use my studio
for the same reason
drive
I didn't
down.
do all the other Rockstar things that I should have when I had the chance.
Well, what do you mean?
Remember, I said I don't want to ruffle feathers, but maybe
Publicly.
I do. But maybe I do. Like I think I don't know.
Ruffling feathers is tough because it puts you in that space, and then now they come back at you.
Here's the thing:
it's a negative space to be.
I would never say shit about people that I wouldn't be able to take being said about me. I feel like we have in our wisdom and maturity a very realistic view of our place in music, currently in music history. Like I get it where we fit in the pop culture. I understand. Like I've been the target. This band has been the target of punchlines and jokes for years.
Yeah.
So
did those hurt? Or did they at times?
I think it depends on who you ask in the band and when it is.
I think it hurt you probably the most.
Yeah.
I always was like, whatever. Like sometimes it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
But sometimes I thought it was funny.
I remember Zach Galifianakis had a Hoobastank joke.
I think being
He's
funny.
had a few.
I think being funny.
Had a few.
Yeah.
Being funny is cool.
Yeah.
But being a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
At somebody else's expense is not cool, which we have been guilty of. I've done that my entire life. All I do is dick to people. And as I get older, I realize it. But I think for me personally, the reason why a lot of it hurt was because it was often, and I saw it from maybe people that in everyday life prided themselves on being empathetic, compassionate human beings, non-talkers. You can't say this, and you can't bully this, and you can't do this, except for if it's Hoobastank.
Right.
That's how I saw a lot of stuff. I saw a lot of people that in their like how they come off as a human being is I'm this and I'm empathetic. Yeah, I you can't be bullying this person, but then they were targeting us, and it was funny to them, or for clicks or whatever it is, or the dude who's writing the article about the guy the other day, who wrote some shit about us, and I called him out on it, and I was like.
How'd you call him out on it?
So somebody who claims to be a friend of mine and a fan of the band, is also a writer for a publication, and he sent me something that he was writing. Part of me doesn't even want to talk about it because I don't want it to see it and like
That's
think
fine. You don't have to
think
talk
it's a
about
thing.
it.
I mean, but no, I'll talk about it because it was stupid and it was annoying and it got in my head, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
He sent me this thing that he was writing on Muse, the band Muse,
Yep.
and their albums ranked worst to best, which I think is a thing to do anyways. Let's talk about somebody's worst stuff, and so I can get clicks and be snarky so all my peers that are writers can laugh at this shit. And in it, he just sent me a thing going like, yeah, I did a shout out to Every Man for Himself or whatever your album is, whatever it is. Oh, cool. And this Muse thing. And I read it and it said something about our album also having a drill sergeant on it like Muse's album had it. And he referenced Hoobastank. And then right after that, he says, no low-hanging fruit jokes will follow this. And so I wrote him back and I quoted his I said, that is actually the low-hanging fruit joke
Yes.
for your information, dude.
Yeah.
Kind of in a way where to let him know, like, that's not cool in my opinion.
Yeah,
if you think that you're being funny and whatever, and I'm going to like this,
Yeah.
I don't. And so
what did he say?
I let him know, and he wrote me back whatever, followed up with some other stupid text that he sent me, and then I ignored him because I'm done. Like, I'm like, this is just dumb, dude. This isn't somebody that makes me feel comfortable and good, so I'm not going to engage. I don't want to feel this way, so I'm not going to engage.
I'm like you. I pick that stuff up and I carry it with me. I want to be more like you, Doug.
So do I.
Just roll
and
it off, have it roll off my back.
Yeah, you know what? I kind
Which is a
of.
great skill.
I kind of.
I was thinking about going to do ayahuasca.
Let's go.
To learn
Where?
this.
Let's go, dude.
Oh, Costa Rica. It's
we'll do it. Let's bring
$5,000
the
for
cameras.
week.
Come on.
I'll go. Oh my God, I'm going to Costa Rica to do ayahuasca with Hoobastank. What a fucking cool sentence that will be.
Dude, that would be a good episode.
Oh my God.
That'd be a good episode.
All right, that's all the time we have.
Sorry.
I think that's good
really
to go
went
out on
off-
that.
off-
No, it was great. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.